Welcome to Ghostly, the podcast that puts the paranormal on trial.
Every 2 weeks, I unearth a chilling ghost story, tracking down the legends, the eyewitness accounts, and the history behind a haunting.
And I, your friendly neighborhood skeptic, get to tag along to poke holes in her theories. My job is to find the logical explanation, the creaky floorboards behind the ghostly footsteps.
In the end, it's not up to us. It's up to you, our listener, to weigh the evidence.
Yeah, you get to decide, is it a genuine haunting?
Or entirely senseless talk.
But before we summon the spirits today, make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. It's the best way to make sure that you never miss a spooky tale.
As always, we're your hosts.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca. Now it's time to turn down the lights and see what's waiting for us in the shadows. Is the Pittock Mansion in Portland, Oregon haunted?
So if we turn down the lights too much, you won't see any shadows.
That's true.
If there's no light, there's no shadow.
So
right?
it's really just a little
dimming.
Yeah.
Just slight dim. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So ever wonder how a literal act of God saved Portland's most famous landmark, or why a 1962 windstorm changed the price of timber across the globe for a decade?
Whoa.
For a decade.
Wow.
That's crazy. Behind every city skyline and historic home lies a web of strange coincidences, forgotten records, and, wait, that actually happened moments?
By day, Pittock Mansion is a historic treasure. By night, it becomes something else entirely. Disembodied voices and footsteps echo through empty halls, windows open on their own, and a faint scent of roses lingers in the air. Signs that the past may still be walking these rooms.
Or that it just stinks of roses.
All right.
All right, Rebecca. So this is going to be a good episode, I think.
It is. I'm excited. I've been to Portland.
Yeah?
And it was amazing. I didn't see this mansion, though, unfortunately.
Because it's up on a hill.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, maybe I
1,000
saw
feet
it.
above Portland.
Yeah. But I did see in like 2.5 days that I was there for a work trip, I had some locals that were so excited to show me everything. So within 2.5 days, I went to a waterfall, I went up Mount Hood, and I saw the Rose Garden in downtown Portland.
Wow.
And went to the Powell's Books, which was the most amazing
that's that huge
bookstore that I've ever been to.
That sells used books?
They sell both.
Okay.
Seriously. So you're looking at the shelf, right? And you're looking at the Agatha Christie's, for example.
I would not be.
As I was. And there would be like, okay, here's the new version, or like the new, murder of Robert Ackwood or whatever the name is. And then next to it would be like 3 different used copies. And so you had your pick, whatever you wanted. And my coworker that I was with had to say, you're going on the plane right after this, right? And I was, as I'm holding so many books.
Oh, I know you, Rebecca. I know.
And I had to put some of them back, but it was amazing. And Portland was amazing. I had such a good time.
All right. Well, you know what else would be amazing? If you had a ghost story.
Oh, I do have a ghost story. All right. Sorry. Let's get back to it. Here we go.
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
I didn't believe the stories when I started volunteering at the Pittock Mansion. I mean, it's a museum. Old house, yes, beautiful, historic, but haunted. That felt like something you tell tourists. One night, I was helping close up. It was late. The kind of quiet where even your footsteps feel a little too loud. I walked room to room, switching off lights, checking windows, making sure everything was secure. The mansion feels different after dark. Not scary exactly, just still. Click, click, click. The last light went off in the hallway. I locked the front door behind me and stepped out into the cool night air. The city lights spread out below the hill, and for a second I just stood there, enjoying the view the Pittocks built in their dream home to capture. Then something made me turn around. Every window of the mansion was glowing. All of the lights were on. Not one room, not a flicker. The entire house was illuminated like it had come back to life. I just stood there staring, trying to process what I was seeing. I know I had turned them off. I had done it myself, room by room, floor by floor. For a moment, I wondered if someone else was still inside. But the place was empty. And then I had this strange, unexpected feeling. Not fear, more like the sense that someone had decided the night wasn't over yet. Gonna be honest, I didn't go back in to check. I just stood there a few seconds longer, then walked to my car with every hair on my arm standing up. The next time someone told me Pittock Mansion might be haunted, I didn't argue.
All right. So how much of this is based on actual events?
This is a story.
This is a story.
This is a story. We're gonna talk about it.
None of this is fictionalized.
I mean, of course, it's like. I mean, I made it a bit more of
dramatic?
A story, yeah. But like, no, this is it. This is what a person that worked there said happened to them.
So it's a retelling.
Dramatized, yes, retelling of a story.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to get into the pet facts.
Pet facts.
Pets. Facts. From a skeptic point of view. Pets. Facts. He presents it all to you. Pets. Facts. Facts.
Welcome to the Pet Facts, where we dig past the surface of the Pacific Northwest to bring you the stories that shaped homes of the day. From the 179 mile per hour gust of the big blow to the hidden shower heads of the Pittock Mansion.
Wow. I'm so
Wait till you
excited
hear
for
about
this
these.
history.
This is crazy. Stick around. You're about to learn something good. And speaking of learn something good, we have a brand new sponsor of Ghostly today.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, it's a YouTube channel called Learns You Good. Where you can learn new things about all different kinds of things. Right now, they're talking about Text Expander, which is an app you can download. They're also talking about journaling. And by they, I mean me, because it is my channel and I am sponsoring Ghostly today. So yeah, I decided to create a little channel, and I am not Pat from Ghostly on that one. I am a friendlier version of Pat.
Yes.
On
Yes.
that one.
But yeah, everyone should go check it out. I'll try to remember to put a link in the show notes to Learns You Good.
Yeah.
And you also post on the socials sometimes, some articles and things like that.
Yeah.
But the YouTube, I think, is the videos are they're coming along well.
Have you learned you good?
I have actually. I am considering getting Text Expander after watching your videos, because
wow.
I do have emails and things at work that I do a lot, and it seems like a handy way to do a macro.
So you're saying that you're not a skeptic about that particular thing?
No, I am not.
All right. Okay, we're going to get into this. Sorry to chit chat so much. Learns You Good on YouTube. It's all one word, and no apostrophe by the S. So.
Okay.
All right. So Henry Pittock wasn't born into wealth. Which a lot of the times when we're talking about these kind of stories, they are men that were born into wealth.
Absolutely.
He arrived in Oregon via a wagon train in 1853.
Okay. I was ready for you to say, like, a wagon train. Like,
yeah, Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail. Like, that's what we're talking about.
We are. Yeah.
He survived dysentery.
Yeah. He played the game. So he arrived with nothing but the clothes on his back. He worked his way up from a typesetter to the owner of the Oregonian newspaper. By 1909, he was ready to build his castle on the hill, a 16,000 square foot French Renaissance mansion sitting 1,000 feet above Portland.
Wow.
So it was completed in 1914. The house was a tech lover's dream for the Edwardian era.
Okay.
Meaning right now it probably wouldn't, but I mean, could you imagine it if it was made now? It would be insane.
Yeah.
So it had a central vacuum system.
That
Have you ever
sounds-
seen one of those?
No, I've heard of it. But
Yeah, I
that's
used to know someone that had it.
amazing.
Yeah, I used to know someone that had it, that you would just sweep up into like a little vent area, and you just put it all in there, and it would, yeah.
That's amazing.
So you wouldn't carry a vacuum around, but they did have like an attachment that you could add to that. So it was really
Okay.
cool. Anyways, really cool system.
For 1914.
1914,
Yeah.
It also had an intercom system
Mm-hmm.
and an elevator.
Which, do you know why they added the elevator?
Why?
So Mrs. Pittock, Geraldine, I want to say.
Georgiana?
Georgiana. She had a stroke.
Oh, okay.
And it was right during the building of it. So they were able to quickly
Oh,
add
nice.
in the elevator so she could more easily get around.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so now
I'm super excited about
the
this
shower
next
of doom.
one. What is this?
So one of the most famous features is Henry's needle shower,
Ooh.
a terrifying looking wraparound cage of pipes designed to blast the user with water from every angle for health benefits.
By the way, Pat did quotes when he said
Yeah,
that.
air quotes.
Air
yeah,
quotes. Yeah.
I tried to say that in my voice too, but I don't know if it came
I
out.
just wanted to make sure people understand
Yeah.
that there's no science behind
Yeah, I
this.
don't know.
That sounds like a torture device.
I mean, I guess there would be science behind it because it would clean more of your body, right?
I mean, I know like some rich people do the thing, and if you're one of these people, that's great, where they have maybe like multiple shower heads
Yeah.
in a shower.
Oh, there's a lot of people. that do
Yeah, and that's
nowadays.
fine. But that particular concept of a cage
Yeah.
and its needle, like that just sounds painful.
It does, yeah. It does sound really painful. That's why it's called the shower of doom. Yeah. All right. But now we're going to get to a part that isn't as funny, okay? We're going to talk
okay.
about the suffering. So the real suffering at the Pittock Mansion isn't what we think it's going to be, okay? There's two different kinds of suffering that happened here. One of it is because of the heartbreak of unfinished business.
Oh, okay.
Right? So after decades of grinding to build his empire, Henry and his wife, Georgiana, only had a handful of years to enjoy their masterpiece. So Georgiana Pittock, she died in the house in 1918.
Aw.
And Henry followed her just 5 months later in 1919. The dream home that they spent years perfecting essentially became a grand silent mausoleum for the couple almost as soon as they moved in.
No, that's so sad.
Yeah, but now there's another form of suffering that happened. While the family lived in luxury, the living conditions for the staff were a total different story, right? So they lived in the service wing, which was far away from the grand views. So they didn't get all the views of the 1,000 feet above. But their lives were defined by total isolation. So think about it. They are 1,000 feet above the city. And that meant that they didn't really have a social life at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so easy to make your way down from that. It's not like
No,
they probably
in
had their own
1914
cars
too,
or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't get into the city very much. And it had this physical toll on people because they were maintaining 22 rooms. This house was ginormous, right? 22 rooms, and it required constant labor to do this. And also, too, like when you think of just cleaning, it doesn't sound like this like labor intensive thing. But back in those days, you had to lug wood and coal throughout the whole particular area, and it was made of stone, stone or brick, same difference.
Yeah.
It was really chilly, so they had to do a lot of it.
And anytime you've got coal going or wood, it's that's a lot more cleaning that has to happen.
Oregon is known for, it being damp in the winter.
Sure, yeah.
So that's the suffering that happened there, is that, I mean, there's no both of them died in the house, I believe. But, besides that, there wasn't any intentional suffering.
No, I mean, physical toll too. I mean, that's similar. Reminds me of like Britain, when what's the show? I don't know why my brain is forgetting it, with the Downton
Great
Abbey.
British Bake Off?
No, Downton Abbey, where, the servants had to, there was just it's a lot of work to maintain a house like this.
Especially in those days too. you know?
But this is like the isolation, I think that adds a lot to it.
Yeah.
And expense to it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, they definitely had money. Okay, so, They passed away, early 19, like, let's say by 1920, they were all gone.
Right.
18, 19, so anyways, so they're gone completely. And the house just sat, right?
Yeah. Their kids, what happened? Did they have kids?
I didn't say anything about their kids.
Yeah, something I read. I don't know if it was kids or like nephews. You know what I mean? Like whoever the relatives were that
the next
were
of kin.
the next of kin.
Yeah.
They were like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like they're
It's too far.
It's too far.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not. I think they put a lot of their money into the house, and maybe he made money, but if he it's not like he had it.
Yeah.
A ton saved up to like take care of the house after he passed or something. So like the family was like, sorry.
Yeah. But by 1962, the house was a wreck. Following the devastating Columbus Day storm, which we're going to talk about, the roof was shredded and the mansion sat abandoned for years.
Oh, wow.
Water poured through the ceiling, squatters moved in, and the high society mansion became a hollow, rotting shell targeted for demolition before the city stepped in to save it in 1964. So the 1962 Columbus Day storm, often called the Big Blow,
I love everything about that,
remains the strongest non-tropical windstorm ever recorded in the lower 48 states. Striking on October 12th, 1962, it produced wind speeds that rivaled Category 3 and 4 hurricanes, permanently altering the landscape of the Pacific Northwest.
Wow.
Yeah, and I sat in a house that, was hit by a tornado. Mm-hmm. So I can definitely resonate with this. It's giving me a little PTSD just hearing about it.
But I'm just trying to remember if I've heard about the Big Blow before. I mean, that idea that it permanently altered the landscape of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting.
Yeah. Well, meteorologists still use the 1962 storm as the benchmark for all windstorms in that region.
Yeah.
So that's why we haven't really heard about it. Mm-hmm. It led to major changes in how the Pacific Northwest manages its forest and prompted significant upgrades to emergency communications and weather forecasting.
The squall that wasn't. Many people were caught off guard because the forecasters originally predicted a, quote, heavy squall. The speed and ferocity of the actual storm arrived much faster than the warnings could be disseminated.
Yeah. And it had to be really, really frightful for people, for the squatters that were there or whatever. So today, the Pittock Mansion, or the Pittock House, also called, is owned by the city of Portland. It is managed through a partnership between Portland Parks and Recreations and the Pittock Mansion Society, a nonprofit organization that handles the museum's day-to-day operations and educational programs. So this was a rather short history. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what, this and the Sorrel Weed House have a lot in common.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not directly, but indirectly they have a lot in common.
Opposite sides of the country.
Yeah, so when you look at them side by side, it's a tale of two coasts with some eerily similar patterns. Both were built as trophy homes by incredibly successful men, and both became settings for profound family grief almost as soon as the paint was dry. Okay. So the Sorrel Weed House was our last episode, so I thought maybe we'll tie these two together a little bit. I've never done this before, where we compare both.
Okay.
So let's talk about the dream home curse. Both houses share a tragic bad timing theme. So the Pittock house spent years building their 16,000 square foot masterpiece, only to die within 5 years of moving in. Georgiana in 1918 and Henry in 1919. And the Sorrels built their Greek Revival mansion to show off Francis Sorrel's wealth, but the family's presence was marked by the sudden death of his first wife, yellow fever, and the public tragedy of his second wife, Matilda, in 1860. So both of them had that same thing, where they built the house, they were super excited, and then they die shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
So there's some kind of Civil War connection. This is a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
Military history is baked into the floorboards of both estates, though in very different ways.
Okay.
Because you think about it, the Pittock Mansion was built in 1914.
Okay.
So not in the Civil War era.
Right, sure.
So Sorrel Weed was a social hub for the Confederacy. Robert E. Lee was a frequent guest, and the son of the house, Gilbert Moxley Sorrel, became a famous brigadier general.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, okay.
So the Pittock Mansion, while built much later, 1914, it represents the post-war industrial boom. However, it nearly died during a different kind of war, which is the 1962 Columbus Day storm, the Big Blow, which left it a rotting ruin that citizens had to fight to save from demolition.
I'm not sure about that, but all right, we'll go with it.
I'm trying here. All right, so both mansions highlight the massive divide between the owners and those who kept the houses running.
Okay.
So in Savannah, where we have the Sorrel Weed House, the suffering is tied to the enslaved individuals like Molly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Molly actually existed, but who lived in the carriage house and quarters. The proximity of these quarters to the main house created a pressure cooker of social and personal tension. While in Portland, the Pittock house, the suffering was about isolation. Pittock staff lived in their separate wing 1,000 feet above the city. They were cut off from Portland society and spent their days in grueling physical labor to heat a cold stone house. I mean, it was just insane how cold that house could get, though.
Sure.
So also they both have layered trauma, too. The Sorrel Weed House sits on the site of the 1779 Siege of Savannah, where over 1,000 soldiers died in one of the bloodiest hours of the Revolution. And as we talked about, the Pittock Mansion sits on a high, isolated ridge that was once rugged wilderness. After the 1962 storm, it sat as a skeleton for years, abandoned, waterlogged, and filled with squatters before it was restored. And then we have the scent of a resident. Interestingly, both houses have a signature sensory experience reported by those who visit today. At the Pittock house, it's the overwhelming smell of roses in Georgiana's room, which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
Yes.
And at the Sorrel Weed house, it's a choking sensation of a heavy air in the basement and courtyard, often attributed to the emotional weight of the 1860 tragedies.
I love how he's including ghost stuff now as history, everybody.
It's not history, but this is the comparison that I made between the two. What do you think?
No,
do you think there's similarities?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think there's a good way to think about, houses that have this history of tragedy and success, and that can draw spirits to it. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything to add, Rebecca?
So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about Georgiana, because we heard a little bit about Henry, right? And I'm so sorry, as my brain is catching up, like I did read history about this a little bit. She met Henry when she was 14.
Wow.
They got married quite young, but
scandalous,
although maybe not back then. I don't know. But anyways, she gave birth to 9 children, 6 of whom survived to adulthood.
Wow.
I don't know how that got in my brain, but it did. But what I just wanted to mention is some of her work in her life.
Okay.
So she founded the Portland Rose Society as an informal club of rose gardeners. She loved gardening and roses. In 1888, and she's considered the founder of the Portland Rose Festival that still happens today. The first rose competition was hosted by her in their garden in Portland, and she established a gardening club after a holiday touring rose gardens and rose competitions in England. And she used the competition as a fundraiser for her church. And then she also joined the Portland's Women's Union in 1912 as a suffragette.
Oh, okay.
The organization's mission was to support single working women. Pittock was a board member, chairman of the finance committee, and the 4th president of the organization. She was also instrumental in establishing the Martha Washington Hotel, a hotel residence for single working women. By 1911, the hotel had more demand for rooms than the building could provide, and they then built a new hotel. So she did a lot. She really, I think, shaped Portland a lot. That was one of the things I didn't realize when I went to see Portland. When we spent time downtown, it was like, oh, we have to go see the roses. Yeah. And they have like a huge rose garden, all these different roses from all over the world. And I don't know that she planted that, but she started the concept
inspired it. Yeah.
Right. Roses in Portland. basically.
So I was really drawn to the Portland's Women's Union.
Yeah.
And thinking, it's like when we think about these, housewives or, women that, take care of the house, that's their job, right? That is their job, and they are entitled to be treated well. And they're, and I was just thinking, can you be in a union if you're like management? They're not really management though. I don't know. That's a really weird thing, but I appreciate it, and I didn't know that there was such a thing. So I think that's
and
great.
I think it's a union of people. You know what I mean? Like,
it might not be an official union,
right? I mean, like not like we think of today necessarily.
Yeah.
And to support single working women. I mean, remembering back then, these women couldn't vote. They couldn't have a credit card. Not that there were, I don't know how many credit cards, but you know what I mean. They weren't. It was hard without a man to make and save money and, support yourself. So if you lost your husband or maybe, whatever, something happened and you didn't get married and were single, it was important to have support.
Even if the husband, is still there, it could be unsafe working conditions. What about if the husband decides we're only going to have one meal a day and that's not enough for this person? That's unsafe working conditions. Then you have to live in that house. So I get it. It just, I never thought of it like that. And I appreciate that now that I've heard that. Okay. We are going to take a break to hear sponsors other than me for Learns You Good, the YouTube channel. Go subscribe. We'll be right back. All right, Rebecca, it's time for a debate.
Woohoo! Let's do it.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the story that I had as the ghost story today, which is the lights.
Yeah.
So late one evening, one employee was closing up for the night, but as she approached the door to leave, something very strange and unsettling happened. Every single light in the house came back on all at once.
Okay.
So I haven't necessarily heard like multiple instances of this.
Yeah.
There's just this one particular story of it happening. There are stories of other things moving around, and we'll talk about that separately. But the lights, this is the story that she tells.
So, first of all, why would we think that that's ghosts?
Why? Well, like, because how does that happen? Like that that all the lights in the house go on. I mean, this is an old house. This is not like, there's not like just one thing.
There could be something that triggers that, some kind of electrical thing. If the power slightly goes out for a second and then comes back on, lights could turn back on like that. There's other reasons why. I don't know why we're attributing that to ghost right away though. I mean,
this isn't like you in your house, you have a lot of things that are run through like a home thing where,
home hub?
Where the light switches are always on.
Yeah.
Right. So then if the lights go out, the power goes out, when it comes back on, they're all on, and even something that was technically off before is on. But in an old house, or in most houses, when you physically turn the light switch off, then there is no way for it to go back on unless you're turning the light switch on.
Unless she turned off the lights at the circuit breaker.
But she didn't. She went around to each room and turned them off. That's not typical that you would do that.
It doesn't say that she went through the house.
I didn't put that. Yes, but she did.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So, I'm just saying it's faulty wiring. So that makes more sense to me than ghost. I don't know why we assume ghost. Why don't we assume aliens? Why don't we assume Bigfoot? Bigfoot's in that area. Why are we just
Because there
ghost
are
with this.
ghost sightings there. So it's
Okay.
like, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to say 0 for this one because faulty wiring makes perfect sense for
All right.
this.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I'll go with a 7 for this
You
one.
just do that because I give it a 0.
No,
That's the
I was
only
almost
reason why.
going to give it an 8.
Wow.
But I went down a little bit.
All right. Are you going to do another 10 this episode?
I don't know. You'll
Okay.
have to wait and see.
All right.
All right. Next, let's talk about Georgiana
Yes.
and the roses, right?
Yes.
Because this is probably one of the most famous
Yeah.
haunted parts of the mansion. So as we talked about, Georgiana loved roses and gardening.
Mm-hmm.
She started the Rose Festival, all of that. And I went to the Rose Garden in downtown. But what is said is that the unmistakable scent of roses follows her ghost wherever she goes.
Mm-hmm.
And we say that because visitors say the sudden and very strong scent of roses seems to come out of nowhere. And it could be in different places of the house. So it could be in the garden or in the house.
Okay.
And sometimes the scent even lingers after they leave the area. And what's interesting is visitors say that when they smell it, it's not like a scary thing. They feel like it's a welcome thing.
Okay.
Like she's there to welcome them.
Yeah. First of all, let's talk about the visitors saying that they feel welcomed. I mean, I would say that, it's a pleasant smell, right? Roses are pleasant smelling.
Yes.
So you wouldn't feel scared. But what about if it was like sewage or something like that? It would be the opposite. So it's just given the scent makes them feel that way. Maybe knowing the story helps a little bit too. But also too, a lot of things can carry that scent, right? The scent can be just left over in the walls too. I mean, I know we've had this discussion before and I know you don't believe me, but if you put flowers in a room and then you take the flowers out, sometimes the room still smells like flowers. And if you do that enough times, sometimes there's a lingering odor that sticks around. But smells can be carried by other things. They can be carried by wind. They can be carried by the sun too. I mean, like if you had an apple pie that wasn't cooked and you smell it, it's going to smell one way, but if you cook it, then it's going to smell a lot more powerful. So the sun can do that too. A lot of different things. So it could be a microclimate, Rebecca. That's what I'm saying. A microclimate on this
There
one.
were a lot of words in that situation that just happened there. But no, and this was so what's interesting is Pat is the only person in this recording room right now that has actually
two of us,
experienced a scent, an unattributable scent of a flower in a situation before that you at the time and even afterwards were like, that was a little weird.
Yeah, but did I say it was ghost?
I mean, it was a little weird.
It was in a cemetery.
Yeah.
And I smelt it and
in the middle of winter.
And I learned afterwards that that's a smell that people smell sometimes there.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked the tour guide and he did not smell it. So maybe I was having a stroke. I'm going to go with stroke on that one.
No, I think the trick with this
Stroke
one
for
me,
200, Alex.
I think the thing that really is interesting to me is this sudden strong smell. Like it's one thing if you walked into a room and you're like, oh my gosh, it smells like roses in this room. What they're saying is they're there, they're in the room, they're, taking a tour, they're doing whatever. And then all of a sudden they're just hit by this like really strong scent.
Well, that's how wind works, Rebecca. It's like,
none of them say like, and I felt the wind and there was rose scent on the wind.
Also too, if it's a semi-cloudy day and the clouds part and the sun just hits it just right, it can all of a sudden stir up that smell again.
Inside the house. Okay. All right.
Also, it could be in the wallpaper, could be in the other stuff. 0.
You were making me go. I'm going to go 9.
9? What?
The more you explain, the higher I'm going.
Okay. 0, 0, 0.
All right. Next one.
Okay.
Okay. In the northern wing of the Pittock Mansion at night, you might hear the faint sound of a shovel clinking against the ground, or the sound of heavy footsteps following behind you from a man wearing work boots. This is thought to be the ghost of a former groundskeeper who worked at the mansion for many years. Unfortunately, he died on the property. Like many others who were enchanted by this lovely home, the groundskeeper seems content staying here, tending to his daily duties, perhaps for eternity. Now, this is, I think, a little bit of propaganda after listening to your history, because my thing is, Maybe this isn't a happy thing. Maybe it wasn't that he loved working there so much that he decided to stay. Maybe it was a life of toil and hardship, and his soul is like stuck there. I don't know.
Okay.
But whatever it is, people hear the sound of the shovel and the footsteps, and they attribute it to this groundskeeper because it is in that wing, the working wing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that this is up in a forested area, that there could be all different kinds of sounds that you're going to hear. It's probably coming from outside the house, not inside the house, and you're just hearing it echo through the house. But I love the idea of the former groundskeeper. It's always the former groundskeeper kind of thing. That's like if this was a true crime podcast, it would be the butler that did it. But it's always the groundkeeper Willie. You know, he stunk up the joint. I don't know. But anyways, so I don't think it's anything. And unless I hear the sounds, unless I hear something more than that, it doesn't seem like it seems very, very benign to me. So I'm going to say 0 for this one, Rebecca.
Okay. I'm going to say 6 because I agree that's like, you know, clinking and and footsteps, like in this particular case, because it is by the woods.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible. However, I mean, footsteps are pretty specific. So, you know,
Okay.
I'll give it a little bit.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Now, this one there's a lot of stories here. So I just am kind of, you know, trying to dial it down here. But a big part of the paranormal activity that happens centers around the portrait of Henry Pittock that hangs in the house. I don't quite understand, but they say that it moves around. Like at first I thought that they were talking about it just like, because one thing I read was like that it moves. It's almost like it's trying to be like readjusted for being centered. But then in other places it says that it's moved around the house, and that actually the portrait isn't even the only thing that happens to, but that they've seen people say they even seem like figures or ghosts moving the picture and other things around. The one particular story I heard, again, was a little hard to follow, but it was like there was a woman that worked there and she heard a crash. And when she went, there was a visitor standing there and she's like, I didn't do it. There was another woman that was here in a long dress and she like moved it, and then but she's gone now. And like, it was like something, she thought it was like a ghost. So maybe that's the kind of thing they're talking about. But my original thought was just that the portrait just kind of like moved on the wall. Like that was the one thing that I read. But then it was like more extreme.
Yeah, I would have to see more proof of this. This just seems illogical for me.
I mean,
if
it moved from one room to another, I mean, I'm sorry. I've seen a ghost do a lot of things, but that's pretty extreme.
But why though?
Right.
You know, it's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It wasn't like they were always moving pictures around the house and that was like
they didn't get the
thing
chance to finish decorating.
Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't, I don't know, like maybe the shadowy figures moving the picture. I don't know. It just seems very, very far-fetched. I would need more evidence, like video. Video would be the best one for this one. Pictures would, I mean, but someone could go move something and then take a picture and go, look, it moved, you know? It's like...
That's the thing. I'm a little like, what? Like, I mean, like I said, if it was one thing where you're like, you came in the morning and it was like shifted, you know, which even then, of course, it's a little like, well, but like, there could be a lot of things. It lives on a
hill 1,000 feet above the city, so I don't know.
This one is a tricky one for me.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe this. And it's like the roses one, I mean, at least we gave like a reasoning behind that makes sense, at least to some degree, that Georgiana loved her roses.
Yeah.
This one just like, I don't know, for some odd reason, the ghost liked to move the picture from room to room. Freaking out every 10th person that realizes that it was moved.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd have to, and I couldn't find any like thing of like a worker telling this. It was always like somebody saying that somebody said that, you know. So
also too, it could just be that they're like, I remember that picture being in the other room, and then it really wasn't, or it was, and they just like decided to move it. Yeah, it's, I don't know. So this is just I don't know. I'm 0 on this one.
All right. I'm going to say 4. I'll
4,
give it
okay.
maybe if it turned out to be something, but probably not.
Okay.
Okay. Last one. Now, I don't know. This is a thing that, when I was looking up online, people were like, ooh, it's kind of like a wholesome story. But I'm like, now that you talked about the servants' quarters, I'm like, I don't know. But this is a story about a kid. So they think that this spirit is a boy, like a little boy, racing up the servants' steps, even when no one is there. People talk about quick footsteps, doors not staying the way staff left them, and an unmistakable sound of child laughter in that part of the house where there are no kids. So this is, again, in the servants area, and there's footsteps. These footsteps sound lighter and faster than like the heavy footsteps of the gardener, and the laughter, I would say, is a big part of it.
So questions that I would ask about this is, what time of the day is this happening at? Is this like something that could be a kid, that's actually like on part of a tour or something like that that's doing it in a different wing that you're not aware of? I just would want to know more information like that kind of thing. Is there any children allowed in the premise? Is there any other houses close by where there would be children? I don't know. They don't see the kid though, right? They just hear him. And they hear his laughter and stuff like that. So I would need to know more. I'm sorry. So I'm going to give this one a 1 because it's not enough information to base a positive or a negative on. So
okay, I'm going to give this one a 6.
Okay.
Again, it seems like something, but it's a house, so sometimes hard to know.
All right. So we are going to take a short break, and when we return to the aftermath. We will be discussing all of this and more. We have poll results. We have all kinds of fun
Final
stuff.
arguments.
Yeah, I think you should stick around for it.
Yeah.
But if not, thank you so much for listening thus far. One day, stick around for the aftermath just to check it out, you know? And we'll see you guys after the break. All right, we are back with the aftermath. Rebecca, what is your overall rating then? You were all over the place.
I was all over the place. That makes it a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I did give a 9 there and a 7. And then
but it was a 9 in spite though, so.
I'm going to go 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Overall.
Solid 7.
Solid 7. That's where I'm at.
All right. You're just feeling that?
That's where I'm feeling. How about for you?
I'm going to have to go 1 because I gave the 1.
Sure.
And I don't like to, I don't want to round down, even though it seems like it would, if it was point something, it would be like it would be 0.2.
Yeah, he doesn't like the points.
No. So I'm just going to go 1 on this one.
All right.
So that brings us to the closing arguments. This is our last chance to get you to vote our way. We are each given 1 minute of uninterrupted time. We will time each other on the Ghostly Studio timer to keep everyone honest. Rebecca, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. And it's going to be a long countdown.
Okay.
I haven't changed that. So I'm going to just press it right now and talk a little bit over it.
And you're going to vote at ghostlypodcast.com/polls.
Yeah, absolutely. Or go to Ghostly Podcast.
All right. So I think the Pittock Mansion is haunted. I think these are 2 people that seem like they were pretty good people. Maybe, I'm sure, not perfect, but especially Georgiana seemed pretty amazing. And they built this wonderful house and then couldn't live in it. They kind of waited too long maybe, or, whatever happened. Or by the time they got to a place in their life where they could build it, then they couldn't enjoy it. And that kind of thing makes it so maybe people say it's not necessarily a sad feeling, but it definitely feels like they want to be there. They want to be there and still enjoy their house. And maybe because they're there, some of those servants and people are also sticking around. I mean, it's pretty universal. There's a lot of things moving, footsteps, smells, spirits around. And to me, this one feels pretty real. Yeah.
All right. Well, we let the time go out, but you probably had 2 seconds if you wanted it. All right. I am ready. I'm going to just go.
All right.
And again, it's going to be a super long countdown. So go to ghostlypodcast.com. You can contact us there. There's also the poll section you can go to, and you can buy ghostly gear. All right. So in this particular episode, the evidence seemed like it could be anything else. these are unexplained things that happen in the house. Unexplained does not necessarily mean ghost. We could unexplain why a cake doesn't rise when you put it in the oven. It's unexplained, but it does. And that's not necessarily a ghost going in there. There's no ghost sightings in here. There's nothing like that. There's no pictures that I've seen, no videos that do anything. I have not heard anything that convinces me any which way. So I'm going to have to say no to this one. Although it seems like a lovely house, and hopefully, it lives on for years as a museum.
All right. You had like 15 seconds left.
I did,
there.
yeah.
Just so you know, we may not know, but there is always a reason the cake doesn't rise.
Yeah.
You forgot to add something.
We don't know. That's it. And we're not going to just say it's a ghost. So there is always a reason, but we don't always know what it is. So anyways.
So as we said, go vote.
Yeah.
Right. And we got something new.
Yeah, so you got a ghost story that you're dying to share. I love using those words together. Now you can. Ghostly has an official phone line that we actually received a couple votes from this last time.
Yeah, super exciting.
Call or text us with your spooky encounters. And if you leave a voicemail, you might hear it on the show. You can also just call to say hi or make your voice heard in our latest polls.
Here's how to vote by text. So text us the episode title. And yes, if you're a believer, no, if you're a skeptic about this episode, then give it a haunting score from 1 to 10. Your opinion matters. Let us know what you think. Again, ghostlypodcast.com/polls, or what's that number?
Yeah, the number is 312-869-9929. That's 312-869-9929. And if you turn those around, that's a lot of sixes. 312-869-9929.
Yes, there you go. So, sometimes people might have stories to tell us, but you're like, I don't want to type it out. Call, leave a voicemail, and that's enough.
Absolutely. So Rebecca, if you could, do you have a listener mail for us?
I do have a listener mail for us. Okay. So, I'm so sorry. Really? Quick no, you know what? I'll do it in the polls. I'm so sorry. We'll wait. Let me do the listener mail first. Okay. We're continuing on. We have our letter from Nicole, and last time she had a ghostly figure that her hand went through. Super freaky. Okay, here we go. So she was pregnant in that story. Now we're after that. So after having my daughter, my sister came down to visit and stayed with us for a couple of weeks. She sat on the couch, and from there you could see the bathroom and in the middle of the hallway, and on the other end of the hallway were both bedrooms. One night, my daughter was crying in her crib, and I must have been sleeping good because I didn't wake up. My sister woke up, but she said she saw my husband go into my daughter's room, and my daughter stopped crying. So she went back to sleep. The next morning, she was telling us that she was surprised my husband woke up to tend to our daughter because he is a very heavy sleeper. He said he didn't wake up at all during the night. My sister freaked out and said she saw a black figure walk by the bathroom from the direction of our bedroom and into my daughter's room. And then my daughter even stopped crying. She also said the figure blocked out the nightlight we had plugged in the bathroom. At that same house, about a year or two later, my sister was down visiting again. Her and I were sitting in the living room and watching a movie, and out of nowhere, this ball of light randomly appears in front of us and floated across the room and disappeared. I kid you not. If I had not seen it for myself, I would think you were full of
malarkey.
But we both saw it. Her and I looked at each other and just said, "Did you see that?" We honestly didn't know what to think or do. It was so bizarre.
Wow. So do you have any on deck waiting for after Nicole's?
Like I said, we still have a couple, but we haven't had any new ones. So we need more.
Yeah. So they can always email us at info@ghostlypodcast.com or use the contact us form that we have on ghostlypodcast.com to tell us the stories. You can also make sure you use that phone line, 312-869-9929. Just tell us the story, then we don't have to tell the story.
Absolutely. You don't want to hear me reading it.
Yeah.
We want to hear you reading it.
just please no swears.
Oh, yes. Yeah, got to keep it
Because
clean.
then I'm going to have to say malarkey over whatever swear that you do. Or one of our favorite ways is getting it in the actual mail. Do you remember the P.O. Box number?
I do. It's P.O. Box number 264, Geneva, Illinois, 60134.
Yeah, and as we always say, you're not going to remember any of that. Go into the footer of ghostlypodcast.com, which is at the very bottom of the page where a footer should be, and it has all that information waiting for you. Mm-hmm. The shout-outs, you can leave a 5-star review if you want to get a shout-out. That would be only on Apple Podcast, and I just checked, and we don't have any. And the second way is to become a new member on Patreon. We don't have any new members, but we're excited. If you want to join, we are happy to send you a button through the mail, which glows in the dark.
No, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So, but you can just go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon in the menu bar to join it. Or if you're a Patreon person, you can go on Patreon and search for Ghostly Podcast.
Absolutely. And it helps us just keep this going.
Yeah.
You know, Ghostly isn't free, unfortunately, for us to do. So we appreciate any support. Again, we don't make money.
No.
But we definitely appreciate any money that helps keep this going and bringing all these fun stories to you.
So the state of the podcast would be that we break even most months. Some months we have to throw a couple bucks in, but for the most part we're breaking even. So that's great. But it would be nice to be able to expand more, right?
Yeah, have money to do a little bit more.
Like
is always helpful.
new equipment, go on some adventure or something like that to give to you guys. But we're happy breaking even too. So we can still use a couple more Patrons if you're out there.
They would be helpful. Absolutely.
Especially if you have one of those vacuum cleaners that are in your house like that. You have enough money to become a Patreon.
Oh, there you
now,
go.
so.
Yeah, exactly. And you get ad-free episodes potentially.
Except you would still hear about Learns You Good.
Yes.
Because I baked that right in.
Right in.
Put it right in my script.
And you get them maybe a little bit early sometimes. So.
Yeah.
And there's extra stuff out there too.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good stuff. Oh, really quick, because it's just in my head, and then I promise we're going to get to the polls. Ghostly does have an upcoming live appearance.
Yeah, we do. I believe it's March 27th? 29th. I was close. Yes. Around noonish time. I can't remember.
12:15.
Yeah.
We are going to be at C2E2 again.
Yeah, which is Chicago's comic convention. So if you're into that kind of thing, even if not, you can go ahead and pay money to go see us. I'm going to say this. Sometimes you might be able to sneak in too, to be able to just go see us.
Oh, no. There's no sneaking in.
I don't know.
C2E2 is very kind and letting us be there. No sneaking in. I would not recommend to do that.
Don't sneak in.
No.
I never said that.
Yeah.
No,
it is a lot of fun, and there's always a lot of good vendors and panels and special guests and all of that. So if you're in the Chicago area, the weekend of March 27th, we're there on Sunday at 12:15. We'll be talking about the funeral homes and crematoriums. It's going to be a spooky episode. That's all.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah. And unfortunately, C2E2 does not allow us to record. So we cannot.
You have to come live.
Yeah, you have to just come live and actually talk to us. I mean, you don't have to talk to us, but you can.
But you can. That's another way to get a button.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about polls then.
Yeah.
It's your favorite topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Polls. I love them so much.
Now, this is what I was going to say earlier, and I just wanted to say it really quick. We had someone vote for Ashmore Estates. So remember, we're doing Ashmore Estates and Sorrel Weed House today.
Yes.
And she put in the comments that she wasn't able to choose 6. She said it only was going to let her pick 1 or 10. So she did 10. But I went on the website to try to vote myself.
I saw that today.
And I was able to put 6. So I don't know if it was a thing with your browser or something weird, but
you can always just put it in the comment area too,
which you did. And so so I calculated that in, but I just wanted to say that I did see that.
Yes.
Check it out. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ashmore Estates. Yes. 68.3. No, 31.7.
It's because of Morrissey saying that it was one of the spookiest places he went to.
People have come out of the woodwork after that episode with stories. So definitely haunted. How haunted was it, Pat?
Oh, by the way, we should put that picture that he sent us of the woman that got the scrapes on the neck. Morrissey did send us a picture.
With that. Yeah.
I still strongly disagree, and I think you did too with that after seeing it. But We can let you decide, though,
Yeah,
too.
not our. Yeah, we're at this. At this point, it's out of our hands.
Yeah,
It's on
so
you guys.
they believed it was so haunted 6.7, which is like the highest we've ever had.
It's up there.
It is up there, yeah.
And again, maybe that was the thing with the 10 and the 1. You know what I mean? Like maybe there was something funky happening with
I'm
that.
not going to make a 6-7 joke. I promise.
Okay. All right. Sorrel Weed House.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the one, as you just were talking about in the episode.
Yeah, that compares to this
there.
one. So if you voted one way for that one, maybe you should vote the same way for this
maybe,
one. Or maybe we should just carry the votes over for this one.
No, thank you. So this one was yes, 42.5. And no was 57.5.
But
so
we
close.
still got a pretty big how haunted rating. So those people that said yes thought it was really haunted.
Yeah.
Because it's 4.3. So because all those no's probably gave less than 3. So
Yeah.
So don't let your friends miss out on the chills. Share Ghostly with them and help us grow this community of paranormal enthusiasts. Your support means the world to us. And I want to give a shout out to our VIP producers who make this all possible. We have Andrew,
Alicia,
Becky,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Jessica,
Alice,
and Aaron. And by the way, you can also be a VIP producer just by giving at a certain level on Patreon.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not that bad, too.
Yeah. Is it real? You be the judge. Share your verdict at ghostlypodcast.com's poll section and let the debate continue.
Subscribe to Ghostly now and get ready for more spine-tingling encounters with the unknown.
All right. On the next episode of Ghostly, we will be talking about the 6 Mile Wayfarer House in Fisher, Charleston, South Carolina.
Whoa, that is a lot to say.
It's a lot. I don't know. We're going to have to think about that one for next time.
Does Eminem have something to do with it? No, that's 8 Mile.
That's 8 Mile. This is a little
6 Mile. This is
mile.
less
and
than
not
that.
in Michigan. Yeah.
Not
All
in
right.
Detroit.
And this comes out March 11th.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for coming along for the ride, and thank you for sticking through the aftermath. Until next time, stay ghostly.
Bye.